Finally, another category of theme frameworks is the ones that you categorize with a custom CSS and a custom functions file. So some of you may have heard of the thesis theme, right? And other themes in this category will be Frugal and Headway and stuff like that. So to make customizations to the theme, this one you really need to know a fair bit of CSS and PHP. You would add your customizations into custom.css and so on. To upgrade, you would have to install the new version of the theme framework and then copy all your customizations over. I feel there's pros and cons to each method, and this one, the drawback I feel is that there's a lot of extra work to upgrade the theme framework. You have to make sure that you copy all the files correctly over, and sometimes if you forget to copy the CSS images, then you've got your site without any background images. There's also a fourth category of theme frameworks that I didn't include in here, and that's the theme called Headway. You can actually separate your customizations into a plugin. So when you want to upgrade Headway, you just upgrade the theme, and all your customizations are safe in the plugin. So if you want to find out more about Headway, you can actually come visit my blog later. And okay, so now let's get into how to actually customize the theme framework. So first of all, we'll look at the method where you customize with a child theme. So first of all, you need to go and download a parent theme framework, and this will be something like themehybrid.com or thematic from ThemeShaper. And then there's this boy across the down the street, Zai.sg. He's got this thing called the Buffet framework. And for child themes, basically you would upload the parent theme into your themes folder first, and then you create a directory next to the parent theme for the child theme, and you create a style.css inside that. In the style.css, you need to have the metadata of the theme, and the important line is the template line, the third line there. So the template tells you that the template tells WordPress which other theme to reference as the parent theme. Okay, and if you want to, you can also import the parent theme's style.css. So here's an example from thematic. So thematic is the parent theme. Okay, and next to it you need to have the child theme name. In this case, there's a thematic power block, and inside the thematic power block, you see there's the style.css, screenshot.png. These are the two compulsory files. Then if you want to customize further with functions and other custom CSS, you can add that inside here as well. So again, parent and child must be in the same directory. So the other method, which I think may be a bit easier for most of us, would be just to simply separate our customizations. Okay, so the steps for you to do this would be to create a custom.css file in your theme directory. Okay, and then you go into header.php, and then you add a link to that new custom.css. Okay, and for added bonus, you can also modify the body tag to body class custom. So this way, it's a lot easier to override the theme styles in your custom.css. You can just override it with body.custom, then the element, and then the CSS rules. So we talked about 2010 earlier. So I agree with Nowgo. It's a fantastic theme. There's a lot of the new features that showcases a lot of the new features that WordPress 3.0 has. I've been playing with WordPress 3.0 quite a bit, and I feel that it's such a good starting point. It's a lot better starting point than Kubrick. Okay, so bye Kubrick. It was good to meet you. It's nice to know you. But if I were to customize the theme, I wouldn't start from Kubrick. I would start from 2010. And finally, if you really want to experience, if you really want to take full advantage of the power of theme frameworks, you really need to learn how to use hooks. So this one, you have to start learning PHP here. What you would do is to create custom functions and put them into functions.php. Other teams would have custom functions.php or user functions.php, right? And then what you do is to hook your functions into WordPress actions and filters. So here's an example here. I've got a function called insert footnote, and what it does is it adds a div at the bottom of my content, reminding everybody to subscribe to my RSS feed. And for me to do that, I would have to create a function, and then the last line, I would say add filter, and add it to the content, which is a WordPress hook, and the function name. So then WordPress knows that, okay, insert this function, add the WordPress hook, add that specific WordPress hook. So this is a WordPress hook, okay? If you use a theme framework like Thematic, Thematic gives you a lot of additional hooks within the theme itself. So you could, for example, inject code before any of the HTML or body is loaded, or you could inject it into the header directly, and you can do all of this from your functions.php without having to touch and modify the core files. So finally, WordPress 3.0 features really make theme frameworks a lot more powerful. It improves child theme support. Okay, so it's also really supporting the whole notion of theme frameworks. WordPress 3.0 allows the custom header image, custom background image, the navigation menus, auto templates, all the stuff that Namco has talked about. Okay, and what this means, I feel, is that premium teams and theme framework developers will now begin to add all of these features into their theme frameworks. So you can start to take advantage of them without having to actually learn all of this. For example, let's say when Theme Hybrid adds all of these features in, you download Theme Hybrid, upload it to your server, and voila, you have all these features enabled within your child theme already. So you don't actually have to go and add all the support to the theme by yourself. Okay, and I really feel that theme frameworks are the future for WordPress teams, because as premium teams try to compete with each other, they'll add more and more features, and one of those features they'll be adding is an easy way for you to customize the theme without having to resort to editing the core files, and you could do this either through a child theme or custom CSS files. Regular teams will start to add new features to become base themes for you to create your projects based on them. So I think that regular teams will start adding hooks, more and more theme hooks into them. And finally, all of us as site owners will benefit from the increasing maturity of the themes ecosystem. And that's what makes WordPress great. This just means that WordPress is going to be better and better. And that's the end of my presentation. I would be happy to take questions if you have them. Or you can actually find the slides later on my website, blogyangi.net. Okay. Mr. MC.
Alright guys, any questions on WordPress theme frameworks Q&A session? We'll take 3 questions.
Regular teams can do it.
Yeah. Any questions on WordPress theme frameworks? Or if you have, yeah.
You mentioned about using different like custom CSS sheets and so on. Would you think that a small disadvantage would be increasing the number of HTML calls that you have to make from a speed point of view?
That's a valid point actually, and I think the way that you can solve it is you use a plugin like W3 Total Cache, and I think it actually caches all, unifies and combines all of your style sheets. We're really going into the geek questions here, so if you have, yes.
Which one is the most, the framework that you prefer?
Well, the framework that I prefer, I use a non-GPL compliant theme framework, so I can't really talk about it. It's called Headway.
Why can't you talk about it?
Good question. Well, okay, I'll talk a bit about Headway. Headway